Thanks to brand deals with everybody's favorite YouTubers, VPNs have become fairly popular, or at least pretty known in today's kind of general society, right? Which you would think would be a good thing. At least I would assume that it would be a good thing. It's exposing the general public to security tools, which I think is a good thing. I think everybody should use a VPN or at least know about it, and be aware of those kinds of security tools. And in theory, I think this is great, but in reality, I think what happens, because those VPN services like Nord and ExpressVPN, they're so expensive, and people see that, they see those advertisements, and they're the YouTubers that they watch claiming how VPNs are going to protect them from everything, all the hacker men and all that stuff. And that's like that one universal tool that you need to stay safe. VPNs have kind of been put on a pedestal. They're great tools, but they're not the end-all be-all, like those advertisements make it seem. And like even NordVPN and ExpressVPN make it seem like a VPN is all that you need, when in reality, it's not. In theory, I think this is great, but in reality, those VPN services that do those sponsorship deals, they're so expensive. So people see that, and because NordVPN and ExpressVPN are $13 a month. You could save money, I guess, if you spent $100, $200 for a year or 2-year subscription, but $200 or $100 on a VPN, who wants to drop that kind of money on that? That's a lot of money for a VPN, right? So what happens is people are told that they need a VPN, but they don't want to spend all that money, so they jump on their phone on the App Store and search VPN. Now, if you jump on the App Store on iOS, on an iPhone, and you search VPN, the first thing that pops up is VPN Super Unlimited Proxy. It's sitting at number 9 in the productivity category, and it has over 1 million highly rated reviews from users that have no idea that the VPN that they're using is tracking everything that they do. Granted, some are worse than others, yes, but none of them are good. They all track or at least like 98% of them track your location and just your data usage, and they're just sending diagnostics back to some third-party server somewhere. And actually, a lot of these this is another thing that I found out, is a lot of these, random servers and everything where you don't know which is what, they're actually owned or not owned, but the companies are kind of under the Chinese government's thumb. So the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, right? So a lot of these apps are either straight up Hong Kong based. And hey, if you want to use a VPN that sends all your data back to the Chinese government, go right ahead. Not saying it's a bad thing, right? Go and do that if you want to, but it's just... the thing is that a lot of people that use these VPNs, they don't even know that, because they don't think to even scroll down half a page. Because if you were to scroll down in the Apple App Store, Apple has made it to where developers and companies have to put, you can track people with your app, right? But you just have to let them know. And so if you scroll down on an application in the App Store, at least on iOS and whatnot, or the Apple App Store, it will tell you what data is used to track you, and what data is linked to you, which data is not linked to you, etc., etc. So we're going to take a look at that. We're going to take a look at a few apps that have a lot of data that they take from customers, and I just think it's crazy. It's pretty much just undermines the VPN, right? It just makes the VPN pointless. But I would say a lot of users don't know that. These VPNs have, some of them, or this first one had like millions of downloads, I'm pretty sure. At least over 1 million reviews, and highly rated as well. And it sucks, because these companies make these VPNs, and they're almost more like fucking ad agencies than VPNs, they throw ads in your face because they're free VPNs. That's why people use them. They want to save the money, right? Free is better, except for nothing's free. Literally, maybe you're not spending money, but it's not free. You're giving them something, and you're giving them your data to build a profile, and it just really undermines the point of a VPN, and I think it's really shitty and shady, and yeah. I guess that's the point of this video. We're going to talk more about two VPNs that I think are absolutely amazing. Of course, Mulvad and IVPN. We're going to kind of put those, I think they're pretty much like one and one, right? They're both just great VPNs, and we're going to go more in depth about them later on after we talk about the shitty VPNs. But we're going to kind of see which one out of the greats takes the crown, right? So I think that'll be kind of cool. But if you just don't care about that and you want a quick answer of which one to use, literally either of them, Mulvad or IVPN, you cannot go wrong with either one of them. But if you want a more detailed breakdown, we're going to do that here soon. And I know not a lot of people are going to see this video, but I hope if anybody who sees this video is using one of these bullshit-ass VPNs, just please stop. If you need a free VPN, go and use Proton VPN. I'm pretty sure they have a free tier, and at least that company respects your privacy and your security for the most part, right? It just, yeah, it's just so shady. It really just undermines the whole point of a VPN, to collect so much data on that. And we're going to get into that right now. We're going to jump on the computer and look at the list and everything of all the shit that it collects, or a few of these VPNs collect. So, all right, so the first VPN that pops up, this is that first one, the Super Unlimited Proxy. You can see it's number 9 in productivity. It's got 1.7 million ratings. So a lot of people have installed this VPN, right? It's by this Mobile Jump, something like that. I looked into them a little bit, and yeah, it's based in Hong Kong. And this one actually isn't. That's the worst thing, is that it's under the Chinese government, or at least Chinese rule. And no, they don't outright say that, but any company that's in China, from what I've heard, pretty much is like beholden to the CCP, right? But like I said, this one, when it comes to your data, it's not good, but it's not as bad as the other ones that we're gonna look at. Like this says right here. So like I was saying, Apple's App Store, the developers have to put what data, tracks you and whatnot. They have to be transparent with you, or at least somewhat transparent. You can see that it says data used to track you and data not linked to you, and you might be thinking, oh, that's cool. So at least location, all this stuff, at least it's not linked to me, right? And personally, I'm just not going to trust that. I mean, whatever, call me a tinfoil hat, whatever you want to do. The next one on the list, XVPN, is probably one of the worst. This one and the next one that we're going to look at is one of the worst. But even hell, this one is number 27 in productivity with over 350,000 ratings, 4.7 stars. A lot of people use this VPN. Let's scroll down here and look at all this shit. This one's way worse than the last one that we just looked at. Data used to track you, location, data usage, identifiers, diagnostics, data linked to you, location, identifiers, contact info, and then last but not least, of course, data not linked to you, like that even really matters. Look at all this shit that's linked to you and is used to create a profile. And, the thing is if you go to this XVPN, the website, and you go to their privacy policy. Doesn't even show up. Hold on. this their privacy policy won't even show up in Firefox, so I don't know if it's the ad blocker or what, but whatever. I opened it up in Chromium, and it says right here, XVPN does not store your IP address or the server IP address you connect to. XVPN does not log your browsing history. They will not sell, use, or disclose any data to third parties, which, okay, cool, great, that's fine. But this company right here, XVPN, or Free Connected Limited, whatever, has direct ties back to China, back to Hong Kong. I found this. I found this article when I was doing research for all of this, and basically this guy basically did or had the same idea that I had for this video, and but pretty much just wrote out a blog post about it and did it, what, 5 years earlier, back in 2018. Basically, what he's saying, this guy, they found out that, well, first of all, they realized that so many VPNs on the App Store were just awful, shitty VPNs, and so they decided to take a closer look at them, and they realized that 59% of the most popular free VPN mobile apps have links to China. That is 17 VPNs or applications that have direct ties back to the Chinese government. I mean, that's just. And then they even, dove deeper into it, and they realized that a lot of them have really weak privacy policies, obviously. This also says poor professionalism. And just not a lot of company information. And that was also what I found. That Free Connected Limited, or Free Limited, what was it? This Free Connected Limited, the company that made XVPN, there's like no website for them. There's a website for XVPN, of course, but there's no website that I could find for the actual company, and it's probably just some little hole in the wall company in China or whatever that the government is using to just get as much data as they possibly can. But it's an interesting read. I will link it down in the description if you want to check it out. He goes through and lists out like all the top like 10 or top 20. I mean, there's a bunch of them here. Like the top VPNs that show up on the Play Store and the Apple App Store as well. And he lays out how many installs there are, who owns it. You can see a lot of these are China, Hong Kong, Bangladesh, but a lot of them are China. Most of them are China. And the crazy thing is that's just a couple of them, right? That's just a couple of the VPNs. And like I said, that article goes through pretty much all of them, or at least like the main ones with the most downloads and whatnot. So again, I'll leave that down below if you want to check that out. But yeah, it's sad that these companies are basically it's kind of like the VPN thing has gotten so big, and people are like, ooh, I want a VPN, or I need a VPN to be safe, and so then they use that and create all these bullshit VPNs that are actually just, fucking sucking you dry of all your data and giving it directly to the Chinese government. So it's pretty shitty, in my opinion, that's for sure. Yeah, I don't know. The thing is in my advice, if anyone see this, or if anyone takes my advice from this, don't use any of those fucking VPNs at all. If you need a free VPN, then just use Proton VPN. Alright, so enough of those shitty ass VPNs. Let's talk about a couple of VPNs that are actually worth your money and have teams behind them that actually care about their customers and their data and all of that. Let's start off with IVPN, based in Gibraltar, which from what I read is like a British overseas territory or something like that. At first glance, it looks like they're kind of where they're stationed is governed by the UK government, but IVPN over on their website actually has a blog post about how where they're located is not a part of like the Five Eyes or anything like that. So I'll link that down below if you want to check that out in more detail, but just know that they do talk about that. But let's talk about some of the features of IVPN. Now, IVPN actually has two tiers. They have a standard tier and a pro tier. Now, in the standard tier, you're only going to be able to use 2 devices with the VPN, or the VPN with 2 devices, which is really low in my opinion, especially when you're paying money. And you're also not getting access to like multi-hop or anything like that. And if you don't know what multi-hop is, it's basically where you're like kind of using 2 VPNs. You're going in and out of 2 servers instead of 1. So the standard is only 2 devices, and that's pretty much it. You get access to their anti-tracker or something, which is basically just like an ad blocker, which is kind of redundant if you use something like uBlock anyway. So to get like multi-hop and access to up to 7 devices, you do have to go to the pro tier, which is of course a little bit more money. One thing that IVPN does, which I think is cool, is they let you buy a week at a time. So for the standard tier, it's $2 and you could get a week's worth of that VPN. Or if you wanted a month, it's $6. A year is $60. 2 years is $100, and then 3 years is $140. Now in the pro tier, you are getting more features. Of course, you're getting up to 7 devices, which, okay, that's great. That's a good amount. You're getting their anti-tracker just like you do in the standard tier, but then you also get multi-hop, which if you need that, it's very beneficial. I do think that I don't know, I wish that it was just like one price fits all kind of thing. And then for the pro prices, it's actually $4 for a week, $10 a month, $100 for a year, $160 for 2, and $220 for 3 years. So it's a little bit pricier, but it's still a really good VPN in my opinion. Now, if we jump over to Mullvad is just one price point. It's $5.35 US at least a month, and that's it. If you buy a month, 2 months, a year, it doesn't matter. It's $5.35 or whatever your currency equivalent would be, and you get everything. You get up to 5 devices. You get access to all the protocols, so WireGuard or OpenVPN. You get multi-hop. You get an ad blocker. All that kind of thing. Again, that's also redundant with Mullvad if you use something like uBlock Origin, but it's still there, and they're not putting it behind a pricier paywall, right? The only thing I don't like about IVPN is the fact that they have a standard and pro tier. I kind of just wish that they just threw everything behind one price, right? I still think they're a fantastic VPN, and if you use them, I mean, I recommend them. I've used them before. They're great. But that's the only reason why I think Mullvad comes above at number 1. It's got that one price point. You get all of their features, so you don't have to pay extra for standard features, I would say. Pretty much every VPN has multi-hop, and those ad blockers and all that. And that doesn't matter if you get that pretty much with just the base subscription. So to put that behind a pricier paywall, I think is But again, I still recommend it. It's still a very good VPN. I personally have had better connection with Mullvad than IVPN. IVPN's not bad. It just seems a little slower than Mullvad, and Mullvad does have more servers compared to IVPN, so maybe that's why. I don't exactly know. But again, they're both extremely good VPNs, and whichever one you choose will be better than pretty much any other VPN out there. All right, everybody. Well, that was the video. If you made it this far, I really, really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, consider hitting that like button because, it really helps out the channel way more than you know. Also, if you want, check out the Patreon. There's a Ko-fi, or however you say that, Ko-fi. If you want to support the channel that way, or if you just want to connect with me outside of YouTube, there is also Twitter and Mastodon. All my links are down below. Yeah, so that's about it. We will catch you in the next one. And you should consider subscribing because we have a bunch more content coming your way. I should really change that tagline, right? Because I've went the last couple of months like uploading a video a month. So that tagline with a bunch more content doesn't really fit. No, whatever. We'll catch you in the next one.